After a couple of hours, one of the wraiths complains that, there's no end to this. And another tells him to, stop lazing around. If there are any bits left unturned, the demon king Kredos will make it a farmland. The first wraith calls the other wraith, number 2718, and tells him he is working extremely hard today. He always lazed around. Oh yeah. That's true, 2718 responds to number 1341. But I don't know. I just feel like working today. When I look at all the work we've done, I feel proud, you know. Like I've done something productive. 1341 silently looks at him and calls him an idiot. The other wraiths around exclaim, today, we will be idiots too. As they work, the sun begins to rise, and they realize that there isn't much time left. One gets excited and asks, aren't we too good at this? Another finally notices the sun. He thinks he lost track of time because of their work. The sun appears and burns them to death. However, they think a death like this isn't bad. They were productive, after all. The wraiths finally die, and their souls happily pass on to the afterlife. Fikomer tearfully tells the dead wraiths that they did it. So they should please rest somewhere nice. And now, we'll see how Demon Lord Kredos reacts. In a barn near the farm, Demon Lord Kredos tells Zeph that, tilling the field took longer than expected, but they took just as long themselves. Staring at a lot of potatoes, he says, all these potatoes are in a dormant state. The confused Zeph asks what he means by a dormant state. And Kredos explains, the potatoes won't grow sprouts. There's no use even if they plant them. It's as if a potato was peacefully sleeping in the earth, and someone just yanked it out by the hair. The potatoes then passed out from the shock, and their biological rhythm paused. Their dormancy will end quicker if he leaves them for about 2 to 3 weeks at 4 degrees Celsius, then suddenly move them someplace warmer and dark. Kredos wanted Sergi to imbue them with her cold energy, but she's really angry right now. And Hartok's up to something as well. He won't be able to avoid those two attacking him together, so he better think of another way. He thinks it's okay to raise the storage's temperature to about 23 degrees, so he had the farmer soldiers do squats. But they all got tired, so that's also a failure. The frustrated Kredos then says, let's go to the farms, Zephyros. He thinks, I'll do what I can for now. I need to at least imbue the soil with nitrogen. But to his surprise, when he gets to the farm, the dirt is all mixed up, and the stink is filling the area. The whole land of death was ready for planting. He wonders to himself, what kind of miracle is this? The excited Fikomer thinks that the demon lord is shocked. And he laughs and assumes the operation was a perfect success. But without him realizing it, one of the demon generals, Baal, is standing behind him. Baal then grabs Fikomer and brings him before Kredos, telling him that he caught him hiding behind the only tree in the entire land of death. Fikomer tells Baal to let him go as he struggles to free himself. Kredos immediately realizes, that's Fikomer, one of the bosses from the Cliff of the Dead. He wonders, did he come here on his own after hearing the call for reinforcements? Kredos questions Fikomer, what are you doing here? But before Fikomer can utter a word, Kredos hits him. And Zeph asks why Kredos is hitting him before he even has the chance to answer. Kredos states, it looked like he was trying to hide something, and beating someone up is the most efficient way to deal with that. Fikomer is not surprised by the demon lord's actions. However, he, Fikomer, will not speak so easily. Again, before he can finish his sentence, Kredos uses his own version of Goma Goma no Gatling on Fikomer until he gets tired and stops. The system informs him to use HP to purchase various stats. The system shows him that he possesses HP, 51. Kredos uses 50 HP to upgrade his stamina. Stamina increases from 20% to 30%. And before Fikomer can even say another word, he is beaten up again. But he finally decides that he will talk and be honest about everything. Fikomer explains that he was ordered to mess the farmland up in order to starve all the demons. Later, back at the Demon Lord's castle, they figure out that Suthel was the one who cut off the requests for reinforcements. Kredos understands why Suthel would do all this, since he only becomes stronger when more demons are starving. Zeph tells him, this is an act of revolution. And this might be a chance. If we take down the first Star Master Suthel, the demons who were complaining because of the suspension of the expedition will take it as a warning. But Kredos thinks, even if that wasn't an issue, they'll keep getting in the way of my farming if I just leave them be. I need a surefire way to deal with them. Zeph then tells Kredos that the main problem would be how to defeat Suthel. He's a ghost. Kredos responds, yes, he has the ability to turn his body like that of a ghost. Even in the game, Suthel was all over the place in the Cliff of the Dead, which is already a complicated map. So the entire stage was like a game of hide and seek with him. If it's too hard to kill pests because they hide, then you have to pull the pests out of their nest. Back on the field, the little girl is looking at the living scarecrow, Azurat, who angrily asks, what are you looking at? The little girl shyly tells him that she heard it's thanks to his sacrifice that they now have food, so she is here to say thank you to him. Azurat becomes furious and asks, how dare you mock me, Azurat? I'm going to kill a damned brat like you. The girl gets scared and runs away screaming for help. Azurat then promises to go find and kill Kredos the moment he is free from the rod. Suddenly, Azurat hears people singing and chanting a few distances away. He assumes it is Kredos. In the distance, we see the silhouette of the demon lord Kredos and the villagers coming toward the farm. We also see Fikomer on a rod and the villagers holding a banner that says, congrats. Second lightning rod in the office. As Kredos and the villagers dance and sing while approaching Azurat, he thinks that there is finally a second lightning rod, so that means he is free now. He starts to cry and says to himself that now, he won't have to become a rotisserie chicken all day and night. But to his dismay, Kredos plants the second scarecrow right next to him instead of replacing him. I mean, why have one lightning rod when two is even better? Without wasting any time, Kredos releases his strike attack on them. And Azurat, who at this point has accepted his fate, realizes that when Kredos said, second lightning rod, he meant that there are two lightning rods now. As Kredos continues his barrage of attacks, Suthel, who is watching the whole time through a crystal ball like some kind of fortune teller, gets sad about what Kredos is doing to his loyal confidant, Fikomer. As Demon Lord, Kredos continues to strike Fikomer. Suthel weeps for his subordinate, he wonders how painful it must be. But the sadistic Demon Lord, Kredos still doesn't stop and continues to attack Fikomer, who growls in pain. Suthel, who is watching through the crystal ball, begs Kredos to stop. Kredos glances at a strange creature with a crystal ball in its hands. He knows that, the bird is a reconnaissance wraith from the game. Looks like someone is keeping a close watch on them. The Demon Lord gets angry at the thought of someone trying to ruin his harvest, he will surely make them regret it. After some time passes, as the little girl is busy trying to farm, Azurat silently stares at her. He then asks the little girl what she is doing, to which she explains that, since the Demon Lord, the 4 heavenly generals, and all the adults are working hard on farming, she wants to help as much as possible. Azurat calls her a stupid demon brat and tells her that Fikomer and the wraiths already plowed the fields, so she should at least do something useful. The little girl thanks Fikomer for plowing the fields and becoming a lightning rod for them to farm successfully. Fikomer becomes happy, calls her a cutie, and tells her that she made all his hard work worth it. Azurat asks Fikomer if he is already losing his mind. He asks what is the big deal with plowing the land of death anyway. Farming in this wasteland is not even possible. That damn potato or whatever they're trying to grow. It's not even sprouting. They say if you keep the potato storage warm, sprouts will grow quickly. But they're all going to starve to death anyway. The little girl thanks them and starts running somewhere. As she leaves, Azurat wonders what the little girl can do. Back at the Demon Lord's castle, Zeph is concerned about the Demon Lord's plan, since Suthel must know that torturing Fikomer is a trap. So will he really come to rescue him even then? Kredos is convinced he will not. But first, he will send his subordinates. If they want that idiot to come out, they'll need to eliminate every single one of his subordinates first. He then orders for none of them to be left alive when they attack the fields at night. At night, while Ball is guarding Fikomer with the other farmers, Suthel, who is watching them through the crystal ball, calls Kredos a fool for thinking that just waiting around, ready to attack, will make his subordinates appear. While it's unfortunate for Fikomer who was captured, Suthel has only one true goal, which is to ruin the harvest. Suthel sends his crop wraiths to go and attack the barn, where the potatoes are. The lizard-like ghosts quickly advance towards the barn. To crush and trample the potatoes to oblivion by orders of their master, Suthel. As soon as they enter the barn, Kredos, who was expecting them, shows himself. This revelation frightens the crop wraiths. Kredos tells them that he knew the crop wraiths would appear here. Kredos, with a scary look, welcomes them to their grave. He remembers the time he used to play the game. The first time he encountered these crop wraiths in the game, he felt pure despair. Suruthel's second elite force. The real problem is that they always move in swarms. If they even touch you physically, they'll latch onto you and rapidly age you. Not to mention, they copy skills you have equipped. They're a complete nuisance. But Kredos is calm about this because there is a way to wipe them out, which is to attack them with lightning-based items. Kredos scratches his hand and asks who wants to be the first to be fried. The crop wraiths realize it was a trap and decide to escape. But Kredos wouldn't let them escape since the real trap is what comes next. The barn doors close and the wraiths see blood all over the barn. Turns out, the Demon Lord had smeared his blood all over the barn last night. And now he plans to use Kredos' Phase 2 ability. He touches the floor with Bloody Strike, and the entire barn becomes electrically charged, stopping the crop wraiths from escaping and shocking them. This attack is called Wide Area Bloody Strike. Kredos yells for farm guards to know that now they can attack the crop wraiths with physical attacks. The farm guards rush into the barn with farming tools, ready to attack the now scared crop wraiths. Kredos knows the farm guards may look unimpressive, but in the game, they're the strongest units in the final map. So the weakened crop wraiths are nothing to them. As the farm guards beat up the crop wraiths, Kredos feels happy. He thinks he is like a ruthless, smart alpha demon king, and maybe he actually fits well in this world. When he spots a wraith that hasn't been fried yet, he quickly jumps to zap it and finish it off personally. He is surprised when he hears a scream behind him. He turns and finds the little girl hiding inside the potatoes. He is honestly surprised and wonders when she got in there. One of the wraiths also spots her and decides to attack her. The girl's father gets scared to see this, but Kredos quickly picks up a potato and throws it towards the wraith since his attack, Bloody Strike, won't reach that far. As the potato approaches the wraith who is about to attack the little girl, Kredos wonders what he even expects to achieve by throwing a potato. As soon as the potato makes contact with the wraith, it begins to absorb the confused wraith and successfully transforms into a sprout. It falls next to the little girl. The rest of the wraiths are able to flee the barn. Kredos walks towards the sprout to check it out. He quickly realizes that the wraith's aging ability has jump-started the stalled biological clock of the potatoes. Kredos digs up the little girl from the potatoes, and with a terrifying smile, he congrats the little girl for doing a good job. This act only terrifies the girl. Kredos then calls out the farm guards and tells them that from this moment on, they should forget luring out Suthel. He picks up a potato and explains that, from now on, they will be going on the offensive. That'll benefit them more. The next morning, Azurat seems to be having an existential crisis from being a lightning rod for too long. He stares at the beautiful sun before him and is just grateful to face it. His stomach growls since he hasn't eaten in days. Someone then calls Azurat from below, to which he turns to look and sees the little girl. The girl thanks Azurat for his advice on the potato sprouts, and as a sign of gratitude, she brings him a ton of chuno. To which his eyes widen in surprise. She explains that Kredos gathered a lot of farmer guards and went off to sprout potatoes. Azurat could care less about what Kredos is up to when he is hungry. He begins to frantically move his head, and the little girl decides to throw the food at him. But her first attempt hits him in the eye. And he threatens to kill the girl again. But she throws a few more and one of them ends up in his mouth. The system notifies Kredos that a part of his demon army feels happy from eating, to which 1 HP is then added, bringing his total to 302 HP. Kredos wonders about who he is receiving the HP from. But honestly, he doesn't mind, since the more HP, the better. He will need to save it for the Suthel raid. He then commanded the farmer guards to advance for a bountiful harvest. We see that Kredos is moving towards a bridge to get to Suthel's territory. The wraiths quickly decide to cut off the bridge to stop Kredos and his forces. As the bridge falls, they decide to mock Kredos and ask what he will do now without a bridge. The next moment, Kredos is in the air, right in front of them, leaving the wraiths shocked, but he then begins to fall and the wraiths laugh at how stupid Kredos is, for jumping down to his death. Only to be shocked, when they see him in the wall, with his head and plump cheeks out. Before they can fully comprehend the situation, he turns and starts moving upward toward them at an alarming speed. Kredos manages to reach the entrance and the wraiths run away scared of this weird pervert. Kredos gives Zeph the sign to do as they planned ahead of time. And begins to sprint inside the building. He thinks that, according to his brilliant strategic plan, the crop wraiths should be terrified of the potatoes, but if he charges in all alone and unarmed, they might attack. Suthel gets excited that Kredos is all alone and without the cursed potatoes, so he orders the crop wraiths to attack. Even just grazing Kredos means victory for them. The crop wraiths try to attack Kredos, but he uses his secret technique, the quantum leap move, to get past them and disappears into the wall. The crop wraiths discuss how creepy that move is. One points out that he is upstairs. They relentlessly chase after Kredos, trying to catch him, but they fail every time since Kredos keeps disappearing from time to time with his secret technique. As Kredos is escaping the pursuing wraiths, he knows that this is the 19th time he has done this, so he knows every corner of this map. He knows all the areas where enemies appear. He finally stops at a point and is immediately surrounded by all the wraiths. Kredos just stands there calmly. The wraiths move in for the attack while mocking the demon lord for being tired. Kredos tells them that he is not a demon lord right now but a veteran player. Suddenly, Zeph shouts for the farmer guards to throw the potatoes at the crop wraiths. The potatoes begin to sprout the moment they make contact with the wraiths. Kredos can finally rest because the job is done. Zeph thinks he was unsure at first, but it turns out the demon lord's words were spot on once again. He recalls the time the demon lord was explaining his plan to him. He told Zeph that he would go inside first and gather the wraiths in one place, so Zeph should lead the farmer guards and follow the map. Zeph told Kredos that the map leads to a dead end, and likely there's nothing there. But Kredos smiles and tells him that there is a secret shortcut there. Kredos recalls the time when he played the game, after escaping the horrifying cliff of the dead, right before reaching the final map. He scoured the area and found it. There's nothing there yet. It's made with such detail and he thought, why is the texture different there? So he tried to attack it and found a secret path. That's how the places were connected. The tunnel connects the place where he had his first battle with Suthel to this cave. Also one could obtain the elixir of metamorphosis there. The elixir of metamorphosis is a compressed soul of countless dead meat piles. It can only be consumed once, but who knows what might happen. In the present, the farmer guards are happy to obtain sprouts that they can plant. The little girl's father is happy that they can now eat their fill. Kredos remains silent, and he remembers the face of an old woman from his past life as Jangxiol. He remembers when she asked him if he was starving and promised to let him have a full dinner that night. But sometime later, as he returned from school, he saw an ambulance taking her away. In the present, the demon lord tells the farmer guards that anyone who tries to get in the way of them finally eating will be completely wrecked. Baal calls Kredos from behind and tells him that Suthel is strong, so he wants to help too. Kredos tells him to just carry the potatoes and leave this job to him. At the place where the great heart of the ice spirit is, Suthel is seen asking the ice spirit to bind and defeat more spirits with its mighty cold. And grant him more troops and power. But he is suddenly kicked into the ground by the demon lord, Kredos. Suthel asks him how he got there so quickly, and Kredos responds that it's none of his business. He cracks his knuckles and tells Suthel that it's time to exterminate pests like him. Kredos stands face to face with Suthel. Suthel calls Kredos a fool for coming alone, and if he honestly thinks he could defeat him alone. He then begins to transform and tells Kredos that he has not seen his true power. But Kredos, who has played the game before, has already seen it before. In fact, he has seen it 19 times. In the game, while chasing Suthel, who keeps fleeing through the cliffs, he ends up constantly encountering Suruthel's subordinates, and by the end, he practically wiped out all the cliff mobs. Then Suthel flees into this room where the heart of the ice spirit lies. It's a terrifying artifact said to be created by the ancient dragon at the cost of its life. A chilling frost that traps dead spirits in the world. Suthel tries to summon more followers using that power, but the paladin arrives just in time, and the final battle begins. He uses his true ability by then. Kredos stands there waiting for Suthel to finish his ultimate transformation so he can fight him. Suthel says that he is strong, which is why he will win this battle. Kredos explains that Suruthel's ultimate is to perfectly copy his opponent's stats and materialize them. This is the endgame. At this point, he has the same stats as his character, which are at their peak. With insane attack power and a nearly broken evasion skill, just one mistake and you're instantly dead. However, the stats he copied are from the current Demon King Kredos, who isn't strong anymore. As Suthel moves to attack, Kredos uses the system to purchase various stat upgrades. With his current HP of 302, he uses 50 HP to upgrade dexterity from 20% to 30%. When Suthel, the fake Kredos, attacks, Kredos dodges that attack quite easily to the shock of Suthel. Kredos quickly counters with a right hook to fake Kredos' stomach. Before fake Kredos can throw a left jab, Kredos uses 50 HP to upgrade physical strength from 20% to 30%. And meets the punch with his own punch. This leaves fake Kredos in pain, to which he asks why Kredos is perfectly fine. Kredos smugly tells him that farming requires a brain too. Fake Kredos decide to use Bloody Strike. But again Kredos uses 100 HP to upgrade magic power and mental strength from 20% to 30% each. They both release Bloody Strike on each other, but fake Kredos becomes shocked when he is outmatched by his opponent and shocked. This final attack completely undoes the transformation and Suthel melts to the ground before Kredos. The system informs Kredos that he has used HP to upgrade all his stats by one tier. Stamina is 30%, mental strength is 30%, physical strength is 30%, dexterity is 30%, and magic power is 30%. Kredos is stunned to see this, and the system continues to inform him that the growth quest, level up all stats, has been achieved. As a reward, the new skill, Summon Farmer's Throne, is unlocked, and can be unlocked as 100 HP. The Tune of a Farmer King is equipped with a variety of sturdy farming tools. Kredos is pleasantly surprised by this since he actually needed some new gear. The melted Suthel calls Kredos and asks if he thinks it is over yet. Nope, There is always a phase 2 in the second half of a fight, Kredos says to Suthel. Suthel transforms into his origin. The form of the ancient evil dragon. Kredos says seeing this form in person actually looks insane, the attack power and HP pool are no joke. Well, he is the boss of the final area before the last boss after all. But you know what, Kredos smiles at Suthel, and then Ball kicks down the door of the room. Kredos with his whole squad behind him, tells Suthel that, he just came from the final boss zone himself. So what now? Suthel becomes scared after seeing the angry faces of the farmer guards and asks if they are talking about this first. Everyone gangs up on Suthel to harvest him too. The farmer guard strikes Suthel with farming tools, and they question him on why he dares to interfere with their farming. The poor guy pleads for mercy falls on deaf ears. Kredos thinks he could probably beat him if he fought him head-on, but it talks and moves. It kinda doesn't feel right to kill it myself, but maybe everyone's still too hungry to fight. They've been beating it up for a while, and he still won't die. Kredos decides to beat him more efficiently, so he uses 100 HP to summon the farmer's throne, leaving him with 2 HP. The sky opens up on the cliff of the dead. And the throne of the farmer descends straight from the heavens. The throne was summoned directly above Suthel and seconds later, it crashed down on him. Kredos is stunned by this. Everyone else is also stunned to see the throne land on Suthel. But they all begin to celebrate the demon lord's ruthlessness. One says, as expected of the demon lord. He didn't just let him die, he had to finish him off with a final blow, too. Another demon calls him, a true villain. They praise the demon lord for being a brutal savage. Kredos just stared at them silently, but some seconds later, he is like, fuck it, and shouts to celebrate with the farmer guards. Back on the field, lightning rod number 2 begins to ascend since his master died tragically. Now all the fields are plowed, the potato sprouts have emerged, and Kredos has gotten rid of all the pests threatening the harvest. Now then, it's time to plant the potatoes. The ice spirit crystal suddenly starts shaking. Kredos turns to look at it. The system informs him that, the mission, defeat Suthel on the cliff of the dead, 20 attempts completed. Kredos wonders if he resumed from his 19 tries in the game. The system tells him that as a reward, a hidden event has been triggered. A sealed origin trapped within the heart of the ice spirit has awakened from misuse. The heart begins to slowly open and Kredos approaches it to check it out. A baby blue dragon pops out of it. Kredos is confused for a moment. Both he and the dragon stare at each other and the dragon says, T-bone. As Kredos gets close to the dragon wonders if Kredos is his daddy. Kredos moves his arms to pick up the dragon, who seems to be happy by that. The dragon explains that it hatched from its egg, and it was dark all around him, he was so scared, but now his daddy finally found him. Kredos with his signature look, calls the dragon cute. The dragon instantly becomes terrified. Kredos and his subordinates leave the cliff of the dead and make their way back to the land of death. The farmer guards are excited to eat the baby dragon, but Kredos shuts down that idea by telling them that they will have to raise it first to get more out of it. The baby dragon starts to shed tears upon realizing that his precious daddy is planning to eat him. After some time, they get to the land of death and the rest of the villagers welcome them back. Flute, the little girl welcomes her father and other people welcome their relatives. The baby dragon can feel a warm energy from everyone there. And just as he thinks the demons are not scary at all, it looks at Kredos, making another scary face, and takes back its words. In the demon lord's castle, the baby dragon is trampling in fear in one corner of the room. It turns to find Kredos, looking as charming as ever. The dragon thinks that they are just waiting for him to grow up, so they can have a feast with him as the main course. But contrary to the dragon's beliefs, despite Kredos' charming looks, he is actually a caring daddy and he is just thinking about what to feed the baby. He heard baby dragons eat refined gemstones. But there's not a single jewel here. Only heaps of rusty old metal. Zeph comes to report to the Demon Lord, and as expected they're facing difficulties building the ridges. Kredos is not at all surprised by this. To plant crops properly, one needs to build ridges. Or mounded earth along the boundaries of fields or paddies. Naturally, this requires pure soil only. But this land is full of rocks. The farmers struggle to use pickaxe and digging is impossible since more rocks keep popping up. The baby dragon thinks they are all just slaves and very soon he will be worked to death like the rest of them. Kredos thinks that this isn't a field but rather feels more like a coal mine. At this rate, it'll take forever just to clear the rocks, and if they keep using this much manpower every day, they'll run out of the chunos they prepared as rewards quickly. Even if they get reinforcements from the other lords, this problem won't go away. If only he could be like the main character of some other comic that can summon a familiar or something. Like a wombat that clears rocks or whatever. That'd be nice. Kredos sees the little girl working hard. The little girl is seriously determined to farm. Kredos then looks away and decides to stop whining. He has to find a way to fix this somehow. That's what a never-ending series of unpredictable problems is. Before he could finish his sentence, someone yells that razor winds are coming. Kredos is alarmed by this. He looks up and sees a tornado heading towards them. As it approaches, it turns out Kredos had forgotten about that. This vast wasteland sometimes spawns razor wind events at random. If one gets caught in it, they will be shredded to pieces in an instant. Kredos commands everyone to take cover and hide behind the rocks. They should quickly get under something that creates shade. They should get down and go as low as they can. As Kredos rushes to take shelter, he thinks that, even from this far away, the wind pressure is already insane. What he felt in the game was nothing compared to this. Natural disaster. In fact, this is the biggest threat to farming. As everyone is rushing to take shelter, the little girl is running towards the razor wind. Kredos notices her and turns to see where she's going. The girl runs towards Azurat, and as her father tries to go after the little brat, Kredos hands the baby dragon to the man and runs to go and save the brat. He tells the man to protect the baby dragon and warns that he will kill anyone who follows him. Baal tells Kredos that, it's too dangerous out there, if he goes in there, he could die. Kredos already knows that, but he can't afford to lose his precious lightning rod or laborer. Farming isn't some laid-back, therapeutic activity where one can just chill and pick apples and pears. Azurat yells at the brat to get away from here because she can't move the rod. Kredos comes to the rescue as the tornado approaches the brat and Azurat. He tells the brat to get out of the way, but before she can move, Kredos kicks down the rod and Azurat comes rushing down face first next to the brat. The wind begins to cut Kredos and the brat, who is trying to unbind Azurat. Azurat tells the brat that binding knot is something even one of the 4 heavenly kings can't undo. She will never be able to untie that, so she should just get out of here already. Kredos picks up the brat and his lightning rod together. The baby dragon can feel Kredos' strength and knows is not that sturdy. Kredos yells out in pain and begins to run to safety. The baby dragon is impressed that, despite Kredos' weak strength, he still goes that far to help people. As Kredos runs to safety, the strong wind manages to bring him down to his knees. He falls and drops the lightning rod. The baby dragon then moves into action by freeing itself from the brat's father because he wants to save his daddy, who is a kind creature in his eyes now. The baby dragon flies towards the tornado, takes a deep breath, and releases an icy breath towards the tornado to save Kredos. Kredos realizes that the razor winds have weakened, and he wonders if the baby dragon used cold energy to weaken the upward drafts. As the baby dragon continues to release cold energy, Kredos thinks this is too much for him and then he passes out. Sometime later, as the winds get weaker, Zeph, the brat's father, and Baal go in to rescue Kredos and the rest.